Hello everybody, Struan here, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to cover some of the show me tell me questions on a theory test in the UK. My one's in Scotland, but whether that varies in England, Wales, Ireland, something along those lines, I'm not sure of. What I know is I've got show me tell me questions from my driving instructor, and because I'm currently going through that, I will help you with what you might be going through. Because I'm autistic and I suffer generalised anxiety disorder, makes it extra difficult for me to process, and I feel like for other people that suffer the same conditions as me, this could be very helpful. So let's get into some of these in. I'll start for the ones that I find particularly difficult, such as the answer to how do you check that tyres are fit for the road, and where would you check the pressures for them? How would you check those as well? The question varies along those lines. Pretty accurate to what I've said though. The answer is no cuts or bulges, and then you check the inner 3/4 of the tyre to make sure they're all above 1.6mm of tread depth, which is about that, I believe. I might be wrong, because that'll stop them being bald, obviously. If there's cuts and bulges, it's more likely to pop, cause an accident, etc. How do you check the correct tyre pressures? The answer is not what I said originally, which was go down to Asda or somewhere like that and use their machines, because that does apparently tell you what your pressure is, but apparently they're very inaccurate. The real answer is using an accurate pressure gauge, check and adjust the tyre pressures when cold to manufacturer specifications. That's fair enough, but I wouldn't remember that if it hadn't been for me just doing that tonight, and I will be trying to remember that one again tomorrow. Next one. This one isn't necessarily difficult, but it can catch people out because it's a tell me question. How would you check that your headlights and taillights are working properly? The answer to that is, of course, because it's a tell me question, you don't need to physically walk around the vehicle. However, if you were to check that your headlights and taillights are working, you can have a full walk around in the car. Turn those lights on, walk around. You'll be able to see if they're working or if one's out. Easy as that. There was another one that might catch you out, is along the lines of lights as well. How would you check that your direction indicators are working? You might say, flick the left indicator, walk around. Flick the right indicator, walk around. Not the answers they're looking for. The answer they're looking for is click the hazard warning lights button and then have a full walk around. Because the hazard warning lights will turn on every single light, such as the indicators and possibly others as well, but I can't remember that, sorry. If you put your hazard warning lights on, you can have a look. The indicator either on the mirror or the side panel of the car should be blinking. There'll be one on the front of the car just above or below your headlights. Same with the other side. And there should be on the rear as well. Just next to the brake lights, there should be some as well. Doesn't seem too difficult. If I missed anything, feel free to let me know. But it's coming from my point of view as a learner right now, letting you guys know how I get on and what my answers are. I've got a sheet that's a questions and answers sheet. I'm going off of that. Next question. Okay, I've now pulled up the questions on my TV. I uploaded a private YouTube video so I could get them up on there. So it says the examiner will ask you one of these tell me questions before you start driving. And presumably the show me ones are while you are driving, I believe. So question was, tell me how you check the headlights and taillights are working. You don't need to exit the vehicle. So yeah, operate the switch, turn on the ignition if necessary, then walk around the vehicle. Simple as that. You don't need to exit the vehicle, just tell me. Tell me how you know if there's a problem with your anti-lock braking. Answer, warning lights should illuminate if there's a fault. Seems fairly simple. Tell me you check the direction indicators are working. As I previously said, you don't have to exit the vehicle because it's a tell me one. And you press hazard warning lights and walk round if it was a show me. Tell me how you check the brake lights are working on this car. So my automatic instinct was press the brake pedal, use a reflection. What it says is explain how you'd operate the brake pedal, make use of reflections in windows or doors, or ask someone to help. Simple. Tell me how you check the engine has sufficient oil. Simple answer. Identify dipstick or oil level indicator. Describe check of oil level against the minimum and maximum markers. See, because it's a tell me one, usually that should have a box that says you don't need to actually do this because it's tell me. But if you do have to do it, pop the bonnet, lift it up. If it's on hydraulics, brilliant. If it's not, use the pole, put it in place. Usually a yellow cap for the dipstick. Make sure the engine's, is it cold or hot? That I'll have to check on. My automatic instinct would be hot. I don't know. Either way. Yeah, you'd pull the dipstick out, wipe it on a cloth, put it back in, and bring it back out, and whatever level comes off of that, is the correct level. It should be between minimum and maximum, but not on the extreme of either one. If it's on maximum, brilliant. If it's on minimum, not brilliant. If it's above or below any of them, you're not really doing very well. Where are we? Tell me how you check the engine has sufficient engine coolant. Another one. Identify high and low level markings on the header tank where fitted or radiator filler cap and describe how to top up to correct level. So engine coolant. Sorry, I'm taking a moment to myself there. So the hydraulic brake fluid is right at the back. Antifreeze is there. It's yellow cap. Anything that's yellow cap is meant to be done by yourself, and black caps are usually done by professionals, mechanics, etc. So engine coolant would be in the engine bay somewhere. I'm afraid I don't know that, but I will on Wednesday because I have a lesson before then. So tell me how you check that you have a safe level of hydraulic brake fluid. There we go. It's usually right by the firewall, far away from you when you open the bonnet. It'll say .3, etc., something like that on it. Identify reservoir, check level against high and low markings. Once again, make sure it's not over it or under it. Between them is best. So here is some show me questions while you're driving. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how to wash and clean the rear windscreen? On most cars nowadays, that means the right stick, I was going to say, but I would call that a stick. There's one, excuse me a minute, I believe they're called stalks actually. Took me a minute. On the left stalk is usually the indicator, and on the right one you can have lights or wipers, right, usually. Yeah, so on the right one, to clean the rear windscreen, you'd usually push it away from you and it'll clean the rear windscreen, and you'd hold that for a few seconds to make sure it got fluid on the windscreen, etc. The answer to that one is obviously operate relevant control to wash and wipe rear windscreen. Next one, when it's safe to do so, can you show me how to wash and clean the front windscreen? It's usually the right stalk, you pull it towards you a few seconds to let the fluid come out and it'll wash the windscreen, etc. Operate relevant control to wash and wipe the front windscreen. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd switch on your dipped headlights? In my dad's Renault Megane, it's the left stalk where the indicator is, and you just twist that. On my driving instructor's car, it's a Ford Focus. It's just down by your right knee, where you'd usually find the dipped headlight adjustment. Or to make it easier for you, if you were to follow where your knee is, down towards the accelerator, just to your right, where your knee should be, would be the headlight controls on a little circular disc. This is operate relevant switch. Next one, when it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd set the rear demister? Some cars say defrost, that says demister, same thing. So, if in your car there's a button that has a fan blowing like that, just a couple wavy lines, it says max, that is all round defrost, demist. If there's one on its own with just a sort of lines through a windscreen looking object, that's usually rear only. And for most modern cars it will actually come up rear demist, rear defrost, you name it, on the dash. And it says operate switch to heat rear screen. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd operate the horn? Check is carried out by using control. usually either in the middle of the steering wheel, you press in the middle of it or to one side, whatever, or in very, very rare circumstances, it's on the left stalk where the indicator should be, which is only ever seen on one of my brother's old cars. It was a 2001 Peugeot 106, and that's where it was. Not too many to go. Oh yeah, not too many at all. When it's safe to do so, can you show me how you demist the front windscreen? As I said, there's one that says max on it usually. That would be the button that sets it off for you, or if it's a slightly older car. As the answer says here, set all relevant controls including fan, temperature, air direction, source and heated screen. It's basically saying there, if it's manual, turn the heat up and make it go towards the front of the car. Not on your feet, not towards you, but to the front windscreen. And usually the side windows comes on as well. There's little vents that come out to the side. So when it's safe to do so, can you show me how you'd open and close the side window? Seems fairly self-explanatory. The answer there is operate relevant control on door armrest. And once again, in very rare circumstances, as I've seen a few times, they might be in the centre console. But most modern cars have it on the armrest because that's easier to find when you're driving. Tell me how you check that the brakes are working before starting a journey. It doesn't mean before you start the engine. You can do that just before you start your journey. So the answer there is brakes should not feel spongy or slack. Brakes should be tested as you set off, and vehicles should not pull to one side. If they are, you've either got a fault in your braking system or some of your pads are worn down more than the rest, which is dodgy anyway. Tell me where you'd find the information for the recommended tyre pressures for this car and how the tyre pressure should be checked. Do not say go to your, as I've said in the previous clip I believe, do not say go to your local Asda or Tesco's and use their machines because they are totally inaccurate. The answer is manufacturer's guide for tyre pressures. Use a reliable pressure gauge, check and adjust tyre pressures when the tyres are cold. Don't forget the spare tyre and remember to refit valve caps. And because it's a tell me question, you don't actually have to do it. Thank God, because I'd be dead. Out of breath. Tell me how you'd make sure your head restraint is correctly adjusted so it provides the best protection in the event of a crash. Most people just say adjust it to your head height. The right answer, if you're doing a practical test, would be the head restraint should be adjusted so the rigid part of the head restraint is at least as high as the eye or top of the ears and as close to the back of the head as is comfortable. Note, some restraints might not be adjustable. Yeah, I would say so. I don't know that many cars that the head restraints can move forward, but I know most cars go up and down. Like in my dad's car, the headrest does not go high enough to reach the top of my head. The top of it ends about there, because I'm a lanky bastard. Only a few more to go. I take that back, one more to go. Tell me how you would check the tyres to ensure they have sufficient tread depth and that their general condition safe to use on the road. I did say something about that either at the start of this video or on a previous video that I did yesterday, from the date this video was published. And the answer to that is no cuts and bulges, 1.6mm of tread depth across the central 3/4 of the breadth of the tyre, and around the entire outer circumference of the tyre. Don't know how many times I said tyre there, oh well. That is the correct answers. Please follow them, don't get it wrong. Also, at time of recording, which is May 2021, if the police pull you over and you have less than 2mm, they sometimes say, oh that's illegal, get that changed now. You don't have to listen to that, because the minimum by the law is 1.6mm. So if you have 1.8, 1.7, they can't do anything. Just to let you know. But that's all for this video. A little bit more formal than my videos usually are, but it had to be done, because I'm about to go through this. Even making this video, it's causing me anxiety, but oh well. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell if you haven't already, I will see you all, hopefully, in the next video. Goodbye.